Hey guys, I'm using my LTE 4G on my straight talk right now. So if there's any interruption, I do apologize. But yeah, as the title says, this is a live lunchtime TGIF vlog that I'm doing, and this is actually the Friday before I get off for a week, where I've utilized I am going to be utilizing, I should say, my PTO, paid time off, and protected PTO, protected paid time off. There's a bit of a difference, not much, to kind of use the week to physically and mentally recharge my batteries and my body, because it's been like constantly non-stop. It's almost like every week has been 40 hours. I mean, most of the time it's been 40 hours. I mean, there have been a few occasions where it's 3 hours off, but most of the time it's been about 40 hours. Um, and I apologize for any stream interruptions or something like that right now, just in case. But like I said, it's been um, just one of those situations because of what's going on to where it's just nonstop. I mean, I'll be honest with you, over the past several weeks, it seems myself and several other associates have ended up being stuck at a register that we don't want to be stuck at, because of the fact that, you never know if you're going to get off that register or not. I mean, eventually you do get off of it, but it's just one of those times where it's like it's just nonstop. I mean, not that we don't mind being on it, but it's almost like it's the register that, I'll put it this way. You know how they always say there's a lucky next to a certain number? Well, sometimes this register number, which, could be associated as lucky, if you will, is turned into unlucky. And if you guess the number 7, you're right. Basically, that's what it is. It's unlucky number 7, from what I can tell, from what I can tell you. But it's one of those situations to where basically, you got to do what you got to do, but you, in the end, are not too thrilled by it, because you end up probably realizing, oh, I'm going to be stuck here for a while if it gets really busy. Yeah, but it's just been one of those past several weeks, if not past months, where it's just been crazy. I mean, you know exactly, you know, what you're going to get, or what you're going to, what you're gonna, walk into. I mean, this past week, for example, everybody I'm pretty sure is curious exactly why has it gotten so busy. And one of the reasons, obviously, is not just because it was Memorial Day weekend and Memorial Day this past Monday, if not Memorial Day week, for a lot of people, but it was also graduation week, or it is graduation week. And because what's going on, graduations can't go on the way they are supposedly supposed to. So the option, basically, the biggest option, honestly, is to allow allow the seniors to graduate, but basically do it in a way that's different and more unique. And I guess if you look at it from a positive side, more personal. Because from what I understand, depending on the region and the district you're in, what happens is the superintendent and the principal, and I think the senior class president, if you will, not the student president of the senior class, but the senior class teacher, the teacher that basically, from what I understand, is like the head of the senior class, is responsible. Uh, they drive around almost every day, depending on how big the class is, and they go from house to house, or from house to house, or apartment to apartment, whatever you want to call it, duplex, complex, condo, whatever you want to call it, um, personally delivering the diplomas to the seniors. Now, word is getting around that the seniors may still get an actual graduation, but they're going to have to wait until at least maybe July, maybe the beginning of the new school year, to get that real physical graduation before they go off to their universities or colleges they're accepted to. But yeah, that's what this week's been about. Everybody's wondering, man, why is it so busy? And basically, it's because graduation's happening every day. You never know when somebody's going to get a graduation. Now, I don't know how they do this, but my theory is that they probably call up the parents or the household and say, hey, we're going to be by your house, or we're going to stop by your house on this day to personally deliver the diploma and officially declare your child, your son, your daughter a senior graduate. So I don't know if they call ahead and say, hey, this is when we're going to come. And then that way the family calls up the relatives and says, hey, this is what's going to happen. You might want to be prepared to come down and celebrate depending on the situation. So, yeah, it's one of those, like I said, it's one of those time periods right now where, honestly, as some people have said, you look back on this year and they're going to say, what was 2020? I don't remember that year. you know, that's how some people feel. It's like basically, a lot of people feel that if 2020 gets any worse than it is, that pretty much a lot of people, even now, they just want to forget about this year. Like, when people, it's like this is how they feel. When you tell your child about certain years, or if your child looks into a history book at the past years and decades, and then they go from 2019, and then they see 2019, and then they go to 2021, they're going to wonder, hey, where's 2020, or where's the year 2020? Where's that go? And all of a sudden, the person's going to have to say, the parent, the grandpa, the aunt, or relative is going to say, oh, yeah, we don't talk about that year. That year never happened. 2021 is when it really all started. It's when the real fun started. Basically, they're going to act like it just never existed. It's kind of like, it's kind of like basically Ferdinand, the movie Ferdinand that came out a couple years back, which is a good movie, by the way. It had John Cena as Ferdinand, the voice of Ferdinand. Anyway, long story short, when he meets the three hedgehogs, uno, dos, and cuatro, Ferdinand asks, oh, what happened to Tres? And they look at each other, they do this, they do the cross steel. No offense about when I mention that, but you know what I'm saying. They do the Catholic cross steel, that thing, the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, the Spirit, the Holy Ghost, and all that. No offense to anybody when I'm mentioning that, but no offense to anybody with me doing that, but you get the idea, right? You get the idea. So anyway, long story short, when he asks what happened to Drace, they look at each other. They do the thing. They do the Catholics. They do the thing basically. They do the symbolism, and they basically say, "Oh, we don't speak of Drace." In other words, they don't want to acknowledge Drace. Like something happened, something occurred that, from a story perspective and a theory perspective, I'm sure someone like Isaac from Watso Videos could probably do a video or on down the line if he wanted to. But anyway, like I said, and again, no offense about me mentioning it like that or anything. No offense. I'm just trying to give an example of what I mean. What I'm talking about. And what I'm talking about basically is the fact that that's how a lot of people are going to look at 2020 if it gets any worse. And if kids ask about why, if they look at the history book at the calendar year and they ask why is 2020 skipped, where is it? And they could basically act like like those three hedgehogs in Ferdinand. They could be like, we don't speak of it. It's like, we don't speak of 2020. It's like, no, 2020, we don't speak of it. That never happened. That don't exist. It's kind of like in wrestling, how even though the WWE Network has the matches with Chris Benoit in there, they act like Benoit was just a fictional character. Like this was somebody else playing the character Benoit, not the real deal. So they act basically that even though they have him, even though they have footage of him and matches and all that, they're basically like, yeah, we don't that yeah, this is actually somebody portraying a character named Chris Benoit. We don't speak of the real deal. It's kind of like how some people assume what's going on with Roman Reigns in WWE right now because of the fact that he left to be with his family, to be there for the birth of his new twins. You know, people are assuming WWE doesn't want to speak of him. Like they look at the fact that when they did a highlight package for Seth Rollins and showed Seth winning the championship, they mentioned he beat Brock Lesnar. He didn't beat Roman Reigns, but they don't mention Roman Reigns from WrestleMania 31. So basically, long story short, is that it's as though they don't speak of Roman, like he doesn't exist right now, and that's kind of how people feel about 2020. And that's how, again, but like I said, that's how some people feel about 2020. Like, oh, we're not going to speak of 2020 because that year never happened, kind of deal. And when you look at what's going on now, especially with graduations, even though a diploma will say class of 2020, even a graduate will be like, yeah, that year specifically never really happened. I mean, it technically did, but we don't speak of it. We don't speak of it because it was a farce. It was a dream kind of deal. So yeah, a lot of people. So basically, getting back on point. I know I sound like I went off on a tangent there or something. I do apologize, but basically that's how people feel about this year, and everything. It's like, well, basically that's what's going on. Why mentally I'm going to be taking a week off because of the fact that honestly it's just one of those times where it's like, here's the deal with me. I can understand because I've been here 6.5 years. I can understand basically how busy it gets during certain times, during graduation, during the holidays, during 4th of July, Christmas, and all that. I understand that, and I'm prepared for it, no matter what the situation is, where they're going to need me. If they need me to do carts, especially in this weather, where it's humid, only 88 degrees or 89 degrees right now, but humid and breezy, if they need me to do carts, I will do carts. They need me to sit at the door and scan people for the temperature, I will. The point is, I'm experienced enough to know how busy it's going to get. I don't, and honestly, everybody I've worked with over the past 6 years know that too. They just weren't ready for a situation like this, where, okay, it's graduation, but it's graduation almost every day. And I think that's what's throwing them off. And then again, like I said, you have Memorial Day, you had Memorial Day weekend, you have Memorial Day week as it's looked at now. You have all these situations going on to where it's like you don't know what to think anymore. And like I said, for me, I've never taken a week off unless I was scheduled. And there have been like one or two times, when not even that many times, where they've scheduled me off a majority of a week, and all I'll work maybe is like 4 hours, 1 or 2 days, and that's it. And I'll be off the rest of the week. And this is the first time that I personally have ever taken a week off to myself, or for my own sanity, if you know what I mean, because it gets crazy. It just gets nuts, is what it does. And this is one of the reasons a lot of people will look at 2020 and be like, yeah, 2020, if you don't get better, we're just going to act like you never happened. And that goes for even the workers that are essential, the nurses, the doctors, the police, the firefighters, you name it. The EMTs, and of course the retail workers, grocery, whatever, basically a lot of people are going to look at 2020, even in the essential area, and say, yeah, you don't get better. We're just going to act like you never happened. you know, it's just one of those situations. It's just one of those situations where basically someone like me needs to at least take a week off, a week away from all this, just to mentally get myself back together. And I know some people would say, well, why don't you take longer? Look, I'm not the kind of guy that likes to take as long as I should, because I want to still be up to speed about what's happening. And yeah, I know some people will say it'll go by quicker than you think. That might be true, but I'm still just going to look forward to having this time, just relaxing mentally, getting recharging my batteries, if you will, just doing what I have to do. And that's about it. That's really the truth. And you guys can't honestly blame me for doing that. You can't blame me for wanting to do that, because I don't think I'm the only essential worker at all that even though we're upset that our fellow workers out there were off of their jobs for a while, but now they're getting back on, thank the Lord. You can't blame someone like an essential worker for wanting to do something like this, because of the fact that they want to mentally and physically come back even after a week recharged. You can't blame them. You can't really blame them for doing that, and that's what I want to do. That's what I plan to do. I mean, the fact that just today, we finally got bags in. And that was one of the biggest complaints people had was, oh, where are your bags? Where are your bags? And we're like, we don't know. Oh, when we're going to get them in. We hear it's going to be tonight, or it's going to be... We try to at least give them an idea of it's going to be soon. We're going to get them in soon. And ironically, it comes here on the last day of the week almost. The last day of the work week. And, people are speculating, oh, it's because everybody was out, I don't know. I don't know. It's like, people were just not too thrilled. And it's not just the bags either. And this is another reason people like me take at least a week away or a few weeks away, because we don't want to deal with the BS that we know we're going to have to deal with when we get back anyway. We want to have a break from it. You have customers that come in and go like, oh, why don't you have more lanes open? Or this or that. Or you should be ashamed. It's like, folks, listen. We're going by what's basically protocol right now. We're going by what is trying to keep you safe. And if you don't think it's necessary for us to do that, then why don't you take that up with our CEO? Why don't you take that up with other retailers' CEOs? Huh? Why don't you take it up with their bosses? Huh? Why don't you take it up with other companies' bosses and say, hey, you shouldn't be doing this because it's not necessary? You know why you don't? Because by doing so, you know why people don't do that? Even those that complain, you know why they don't do that, folks? It's because by acknowledging or by saying, hey, why did you do this? Why did you make these modifications? It don't make sense. People have to shop. By basically bringing that up and wanting to change, those people that are like that, and we've encountered some over the past several weeks, and even this week, those people are basically admitting that they don't take this whole situation with the virus seriously, and that in reality, what they're trying to do is send a message of, we don't want certain people in office, we want our people in office, or whatever, or something like that. Now, could I be wrong? Absolutely. Absolutely, I could be wrong. But here's the thing. That's the feeling I get. That a lot of these people just don't really take this seriously. They don't. They don't take the situation, what's going on right now, seriously, and that's why they're complaining. And it's like, we're doing our best. And again, this is why people like me want to take at least time off to ourselves, so that we, even though we know we're going to be dealing with it when we get back, we at least have mental break, physical and mental break from it. We're like, oh, thank goodness. That's what we're looking forward to. Just not getting up, relaxing, doing our own thing, mentally and physically getting back our spark, if you know what I mean. And that's what I'm looking forward to after today. That's what I'm looking forward to after today. 8 days they're gonna have to deal with this. With 8 days, my job is gonna have to deal with this without me. 5 official days actually. And then the schedule afterwards is kind of what I got used to many weeks ago. But that might change again. All I'm gonna say is this, folks. It's just I'm just thankful that it is. I just thank God it is Friday, as you know, TGIF is known for being, you know, an acronym for. You know, that's what TGIF is. It's thank God it's Friday. That's the acronym for it. I'm just thankful it is Friday because the moment I walk out those doors after I do a little bit of shopping, I'm gonna be happy. I'm gonna take it in. I'm gonna be exhilarated. I mean, I know I gotta take care of stuff when I get home. There's no doubt about that, but I'm just gonna be exhilarated. I'm gonna be happy. I mean, I know one thing, for a lot of people that follow my channel, it does open the door for me to do a little bit more, or to provide more content, you know, for this channel in this next week or so. So that's one thing I'm looking forward to. As well as, like I said in the other video yesterday, I have a package opening I do plan to do, maybe several in the next week or so. Because some have already shipped. Some are already in the process of getting here. Some are in the process of, you know, getting to the USPS as soon as possible. So I'm looking forward to all that. I really am. And to me, that's gonna bring a smile to my face because I'm gonna be like, yes, this makes me happy. This makes me happy. And you know what? Now I can understand, even while I'm still working, why people that I've worked with for years have taken time off. It wasn't just for their own health and protection. No, they took time off because they were losing their spark. They were losing their love for the business. And they needed to regain that. They needed to reignite that. And they needed to do it by basically taking time off to physically and mentally recharge their batteries. And that's what I'll be doing for the next week. That's what I will be doing. And I look forward to it. I really do. It's just, honestly, folks, this is, I've been waiting for this for a while, ever since I asked for it. And all I'm going to say is thank the Lord I'm getting it. Because honestly, I don't think I could take another week of doing this without cracking, if you know what I mean. Because it's just one of those situations. I've dealt with people already, as I mentioned before, where they're like, you know, they're going off the handles. It's early in the morning. It's like, oh, you were blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, dude, you know, whatever. And then today we have somebody that's like, you know, he's upset. We upset at his family that they came to this Walmart because this Walmart don't have bags and this is stupid. And it's like, folks, please understand we're doing what we can to help. We're not doing anything to harm you guys or make you guys upset. We're doing what we can to help. So I'm just thankful thankful to have the time off that I will be getting. Because you know why? Like I said, I don't think I'll be able to take another week doing this without cracking. But that's all I'm going to really say though, guys. I'm going to get back into work now. Well, at least grab something to eat before I clock in. Let me know what you all think down below. Comment if you like. Thank you all for watching me on this live stream during my lunchtime, this live lunchtime TGIF vlog. And I will talk to y'all later. God bless. Take care. I do apologize if there's any stream interruptions. And I am out.
Hey, you work here?
What?
I was wondering, do you guys sell swimming pools for kids?
We do, but I don't know if we have any in right now. I'll have to check.
Okay.
Let me